Yo, what's up? And welcome to the very second episode of the loading screen. We're back
Oh,
again.
yeah. Yes, what is up? How is everyone doing? If it's the evening, the morning, the afternoon, whatever time where you're listening to this, I hope you're doing well. It is, like Shadley said, the second episode of the loading screen. Just a week later from the last one, and we have some new shit to talk about today.
What we do, we have some interesting things. We got some GTA 6 rumors. We're
Mm,
talking about Final Fantasy 7. We're talking about remakes and we're talking about time sync. So, you think it's time to dive in? You think we should
Yeah,
just dive in?
since you mentioned GTA 6, maybe we should start with that.
Yeah, let's jump into GTA 6. Look, a lot of it is still rumors and up in the air. I mean, Rockstar hasn't come out and said anything about it.
Then again,
But
they don't ever say anything. You just
they
see like
don't.
random trailers, like, oh, this game exists. Oh shit, okay, well, hey, there it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It's always like 2 weeks before the game. It's like, here's a trailer.
Hmm.
It's out in 2 weeks, and you're just like, what?
When were you guys
What?
developing
What?
this?
They did that with Red Dead Redemption 2. It was like beginning of the year. They're like, here's a trailer, and they're like, it's out later this year, and you're like, What? There was
You
nothing, and now there's like a
now
whole
like there's
game.
10 months to go, and then we have like a new Red Dead game. Cool, I knew it existed, but like there was nothing else before that. And then like the 2 weeks before the release was just like videos and videos and videos. Like this is what you can do. This is what you can hunt. This is the other things you can do. This is where you can go. This is the kind of climate you'll experience. Like
Just
fucking everything. Let's just like ad nauseum. I mean, I don't mind it because it's like a serious hype machine those last 2 weeks.
it does. It really
But
does do that.
but sometimes you just want more information. Like just give me a name. Just like say what you're doing.
Just like
Just
a like
something.
a
Just a
a
sliver.
breadcrumb. Just a
Just
breadcrumb,
please, sir, can I have some news? Just a
please.
little bit. Like I'm not asking a lot, but just guys, just
So,
don't leave me hanging, man. Just if does GTA exist? Yes or no? Yes, we're working on it. Fine. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know like
where,
when it's
what,
coming out,
how?
where it's being set, and like what kind of crazy shit you can do this time that wasn't in the last game. Cool, how big the map's gonna be, like all those kind of things. I just need to know if it exists, and that's it. Anyway, I'm digressing, and
You are,
I'm
but
hyped. I'm hyped. I'm
I
just
I
thinking
can
about the
tell you.
last.
I know you excited. I know. The thing is, okay. So the big thing is that came out of some of the information leaks, but again, we don't know. We have to take it with a pinch of salt. Is that it's going to be a smaller map than GTA 5, but then it's going to have episodic slash DLC type releases as to expand on that, which is I don't know how I feel about that. That Rockstar is going that
Mm,
way, if they
mm,
are even going that way,
mm.
especially if it's part of like a core game experience, it feels a little bit like they sold out.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on that. I don't know how I feel about Rockstar doing an episodic release thing because these guys are the king of open world. Like if you watch
Mm.
multiple videos from different publications, you'll hear Rockstar is the king of open world games, or they've pioneered the genre. Maybe not
It's,
pioneered, but you always hear king of open world,
look,
and that's yeah.
the thing is, they definitely refined the open world genre. Like if you look at it, GTA 3 was, I don't want to say it was the first of its kind, but it was sort of like the first that was like refined and you could really see what you could do in like an open world sandbox.
Mm.
And it was from there that it just exploded.
And
So I
it
mean,
took off.
they're at the forefront of open world. That's why I'm. It's so concerning to hear like that it could go
Yeah.
episodic.
Yeah, I'm not feeling. I hope. I mean, this is like we said, like you said, it's all leaks thus far, and it's obviously with a grain of salt, and Rockstar hasn't confirmed anything, but it's concerning that people are putting this kind of info into the ether, like for other people to pick it up,
Exactly.
because maybe there's a degree of truth to it. I mean, sometimes, or a lot of the times, rumors, there's some degree of truth to them. It's like
And I mean,
humor. Yeah. Anyway, but
Rockstar
yeah.
also hasn't come out and like shut it down and said like, no, that's not what we're doing. So
Yeah.
I mean, you also have to take that into account as well. So there's that
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So they might be a degree of truth. Episodic content I'm not too keen on. Especially when it comes to like a Rockstar title. If it wasn't like a GTA title, maybe. Like if it was a Max Payne game, like if they're
Yeah,
doing Max Payne 4, by all means, let's do that. Let's try that. Because that wasn't an open world game to begin with. It was fairly linear.
yeah.
But it's GTA. Like this is your bread and butter. This is what you do. Um, and episodic content for something like that rubs me up the wrong way. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but rumor. I'm not gonna get
You're not gonna get
I'm
too
not gonna get into a
strong
tiz
about
about it because it could they're gonna come out and say like actually that's bullshit. It's not gonna happen. Then you know what? Then whatever. I stress for nothing.
I
But
think
yeah.
I think
If it
my big
is, yeah.
concern is like with a lot of games having gone that formula, it's just there's that concern that with a base game, it's just really a skeleton, and then you just have to purchase like all the muscle and the flesh that layers it, which is, I think that's what concerns me, and I think as gamers we've been burnt way too many times by that. So I think
Yeah,
that's the concerning factor.
yeah, definitely. I mean, if anything, that's the problem. That we're gonna get a bare bones experience, and then it's gonna be like hey, you wanna experience more of this, then you need to pay for it.
Which is
Um,
gonna suck.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know what to feel about that. Rumor or not, it's still like mildly concerning for me.
But then
But I mean,
let's move on to some more positive news. Like, I mean, a lot
yeah,
of the stuff that you saw the article that I sent you, and I
I
mean,
saw. Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of positive things that are coming out of it. It sounds legit for a GTA title. I
Mm,
mean, it doesn't sound out of the boundaries of reality, out of what they can do, especially considering it's going to be a next gen only title.
mm,
And I mean, we haven't had a GTA game since last gen, so it's a big
yeah.
gap that they're covering. I mean, we had
I
Red
mean,
Dead Redemption 2 in the middle, but we haven't had GTA in a
yeah,
whole cycle, so it's
it's
gonna
been
be
7 years since that. I mean,
I,
2013 was the last time we had a GTA game. Sure, we had like current gen remasters, whatever, or enhanced editions, whatever you want to call it, but it
but I
wasn't
mean,
a title in the series. 2013 is still the last time a GTA 5 came out, or GTA
yeah,
game, sorry, came out. But yeah,
and
like you said, there's a lot of positive things in that article. Specifically that it's set in both Vice City and a new location that's based on Rio de Janeiro in Brazil,
that
which is
really that makes
very
things
interesting to
interesting.
me
I mean, like how
because they are going back to the 70s and 80s with us. And this is the first time that they'll be revisiting on let's say, a home console. There was Vice City Stories, which was
mm,
uh, another part of Vice City, but I mean it still played like the PS2 Vice City, and
yeah,
it was but they moved from PSP and to onto PS2. But I mean GTA 4 went back to Liberty City, GTA 5 went back to San
San
Andreas and Los
Andreas.
Santos. Um, this
We've
would be the
never
first.
returned to Vice
We've never
City,
been
and
back to
that's
Vice City. To see a GTA, hopefully, well, I don't know which gen it's gonna be. It's gonna be this one, or it's gonna be PS5 or Xbox Series X. Uh, I will be very happy to see Vice City return because seeing that with the kind of power we'll be working with, like if I just think of maybe not the realism, but the visual fidelity of Red Dead 2, and if they bring that to this new
mm,
GTA 6 in Vice City, oof, I'm so on
you on
board for
board.
that. I'm so on board. I loved Vice City. It was I think I played GTA 3, but I didn't play it on my own before I played Vice City, because I like played it at a friend's place, and Vice City was just immensely entertaining. And obviously it was a big step up from where GTA 3 was,
Yeah, no,
and
it was.
I don't mean. The story of Tommy Vercetti, man, in Miami Vice kind of setting.
Mm.
Yeah,
Look,
want some more of that.
Look, they've also said they've taken like a lot of inspiration from Narcos, which is
From Net,
interesting because I mean
yeah.
that's in the popular media vein right now.
Mm,
So I mean, it fits in with GTA, and you're playing as a drug smuggler, and it's going to be interesting to see how you like navigate those spaces. Because if
Yeah.
it's two different spaces, I'm really keen to see how that unfolds.
Mm, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's been influenced by Narcos. And using like Vice City and Rio, like I feel like those are, look, I don't want to talk out of my ass here, but in popular culture, it's these are big drug locations. And for the 70s, 80s period, that's obviously a big period for
Mm,
drugs as well. I think specifically cocaine at that time, eh, maybe heroin as well. And
that's very
it's gonna
specific.
I've played a lot of games, man. I've watched a lot of TV. Um, and if they're using that as maybe influence, I feel like they could
It
have
fits
something
in.
special. It fits.
Yeah,
It
it's
fits with the
with everything that you're
yeah
so used to seeing within that time frame. Like, I mean, it makes sense.
yeah exactly. That's what I wanted to say. It makes sense. Like it just I don't know. It just works well together.
So
Nice two puzzle pieces.
you've touched on the fact that it's set in the 70s and 80s, and then like I wanted to jump into the fact that it's going to also have there's a big focus on weather and buildings aging because GTA has never moved over a time period. It's always been like, it's almost like just that moment in time. Whereas
Yeah.
this looks like it's going over a time period, so it's going to be hella interesting to see how things function.
Yeah, like it looks like. I mean, if anything, maybe we've seen a Rockstar title take place over maybe a year or two, but it's
Hmm,
never a period where you'll see degradation
significant, yeah.
on like buildings or infrastructure or anything like that, and whether that can be devastating. We've never seen. Well, I've never seen at least. Maybe I don't remember. Like Red Dead 2, like had some serious thunderstorms, but I've never seen a
How they
hurricane
affect
or
the environment. Look, but that
exactly
also,
like
I mean, that also speaks to next gen because look, it's pretty much certain that this is going to be a next gen only title. But the
yeah.
fact that it's getting to that point where weather and buildings and degradation is really going to be a big part of the game, that's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to change the shape of the city that you interact with.
Yeah,
So
like
that's going to
things are going
be
to change around you, literally. I don't think we'll, like you said, I don't think we'll see it on PS4 and Xbox One because Red Dead 2 was amazing in what they achieved with the current gen. I feel like that has been tapped out now. That there's no more that they can do with it. Maybe they can.
probably could
Because
squeeze
I
a little bit more out
a
if they
little bit
tried.
more like GTA 5 was an end of
Generation
gen
game.
title. You know, it was like the PS4 launched that year, like December, well,
Hmm.
December year in this country. The PS5 launched, and that came out in September of 2013.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, so it
It,
was an
so I
end of
mean, it
gen
was an
title, and maybe they'll do the same thing, but at this point, I'm a little doubtful that it's going to be on the
I,
current gen. It's definitely seeming like a next gen title.
look. The thing is, if it's also if it was to be an end of generation title, it would have been announced. I mean, it would have come out this
Yeah,
year,
exactly. Like
and I
it's a
don't
little
think.
late now.
And I
I mean, we're
also
four
think
months
with.
into this year, and there's
Hmm,
not much time before those new consoles are
I mean,
launching.
from what I've read up, it's only in pre-alpha. So I mean, the game is nowhere near close to
Yeah,
completion. I mean, it's there, but I mean, it's still a long way off. I mean, they still have quite a bit of work to do.
yeah.
Um,
Look. There's so much up in the air right now with where this game is. Um, but the rumors have me excited. That's all I can definitely say
no,
that.
it looks fresh, and I think it's obviously going to change our perception of open world games
Mm,
going forward. And I mean, that's what Rockstar has always done. You look at Red Dead Redemption 2, that it kind of like broke boundaries in terms of real world, and it was like, yeah, this you've been doing open world, and now this is what you can really do in open world, and it was just
yeah.
mind blowing. I mean, and this is where I want to get to the final point for GTA 6 is that They said it's going to be a well, they said it's going to be a balance of real and arcade, and it's going to be a little less realism than Red Dead 2,
Hmm.
which I thought was interesting. It's an interesting point that they make because I know that a lot of people complained about Red Dead 2 being almost too much of a chore.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of like real world things that you got to do. You got to eat, you've got to hunt, you got to do all these things, and it's fun, but it's not fun for
For,
everybody.
yeah. Yeah. I understand it. Like I saw so many complaints about how it's just a chore and you have to like look after the gang and I mean, personally, I loved it. I never found it to be a chore, and also like the thing is, you don't have to do all these things. Like
You
it's really
don't.
up to you. If anything, you need to like eat and maybe bathe, and it's not a big thing. But I remember there being like the not the opinion, but the reception, not specifically from critics, because the critics loved it, but from people who were playing the game on Twitter, it was just so divisive. People loved it, people hated it. They found it tedious. Others just found it amazing. Like I said, I personally loved it. Like I said in the last podcast, I haven't finished it. But
I don't blame you.
up until that point, I enjoyed every single minute. I don't think there was a single thing that I didn't like about it. I mean,
I-
I might go back to it now and actually remember something that did kind of piss me off about it.
hmm.
But I never found it to be a chore. I enjoyed the hunting. I enjoyed looking after the gang. I enjoyed the narrative. I enjoyed seeing this prequel of featuring Arthur Morgan and Dutch's gang and seeing how it gets to where John's story takes off in the
Yeah,
original Red Dead
exactly.
Redemption.
It's a really interesting take on Red Dead Redemption because I think after the first game, I'm excluding Red Dead
Red Dead
Revolver now.
Revolver. Yeah, it's not canon. I
Um,
don't think that one's canon.
I think it's there, but they like it's
Yeah,
not
it's
canon, and
yeah,
like it's
it's
just there.
also I might be wrong about this, but wasn't the original Revolver developed by someone else? I might be wrong about that.
I'm not sure. I can check that.
Mm,
Um,
I'm just looking it up quickly. I might be wrong. I think they. Oh no, oh, Rockstar San Diego.
oh, so it
Okay, so
was.
it was developed by them and Capcom. Nah,
Ah, that's a
that's
what? That's a weird
interesting.
combination.
Look, I've never played Red Dead Revolver. I think I saw when it came out on PS2. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Um, but I've never played it, and I've seen some of it in action, and I was just like, I don't think I would buy the remaster. I think it's currently available on PS4. But I loved Red Dead Redemption. I actually have a canvas that I meant to put up
That's
before
laying
today.
over there.
It's laying. It's over there. It's there are two canvases I'm gonna put up like on either wall, either side of the shelf. And one of them is a Red Dead thing. Um, because I enjoyed that game so much. I've played it like thrice. Which is a lot because it's a big game and it's a long story. But
So
yeah,
going back to the initial point, because we divulged for quite a bit there.
yeah, we
It's
digressed a lot. Sorry.
so I think GTA being a little bit more balanced between realism and
Yeah,
arcade. I think it also
it,
speaks to GTA because GTA is a little bit more absurd. Like it's more absurd than
there is a higher level of absurdity. There's more. I don't want to say there's more skits, but there's more tongue-in-cheek humor.
it's a lot
Or like
more
the whole overarching like theme is like it's ridiculous, like the parodies of the newscasters and the different
exactly.
celebrities with very similar names to some of the people you find as actual celebrities. And they poke fun at it, and GTA is like a
And
uh,
that's what it is.
parody
It's
of the real
it's
world. And then Saints Row is like a parody of GTA and just goes batshit insane. I digress again, but yeah, I think that maybe slightly less realism might work in their favor and
I
appeal to a
think
bigger
so.
audience.
I think also
Still
GTA is just
the worst thing.
I think it's just one of those things that it just makes the game more interesting and allows you to do crazier things
Yeah, absolutely.
rather than micromanaging your drug empire.
I mean that might be interesting. I remember there was a game that I think there was on the school computers when I was still in high school. I think it was called Drug Lord or something like that.
Draglord.
It was
Yes,
that, wasn't it? And
it
I feel
was
like
Draglord.
people who play that are going to enjoy the fuck out of that. If there's like a micromanaging sim for your drug empire and like
That's going to be
rivalries,
interesting.
things like that. Like if they taking Narcos, there's definitely I feel like there's gonna be some aspect of that
They
because
will,
they're
but
gonna
I
look
think
at like drug kind of things. Maybe there'll be like a Breaking Bad reference or something like that. Maybe a little blue myth on the side.
they
We'll
probably will be.
see.
But I think it's good also like to balance it out, like having that hyper real and then just bringing in that arcadey feel
Mm,
to it to just
yeah,
balance things out. I think it speaks well. It also makes the open world feel a little less tedious.
less of a chore, I guess.
I
Because you don't
think
have
that
to
look,
worry about like eating or like malnourishment or whatever.
you, you
Might be a good move.
so what I actually thought was great about San Andreas, the original San Andreas, was you could eat and do all of those things, but it wasn't pivotal to your character,
Yeah,
you know.
you
And I
could do
think if
without it.
they like if they kind of incorporate that kind of system into it,
Mm.
it could be a lot of fun.
Like I remember seeing things about San Andreas, and you could see you could take go to the gym with CJ and like work out and whatever, and learn different fighting styles. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like,
But none
let's
of it
do
was
more of that.
pivotal. That's what made
Yeah,
it so
exactly. It wasn't
enjoyable.
necessary to like your enjoyment or
Mm.
to the story or anything like that. Nothing was compulsory. It was just like, oh, this is like a thing we did, and you can do that and
So
go for it.
and I think Red Dead was a little bit more stringent with things like that, where it was like you kind of have to do these things, and then
Mm.
it's like, but I don't want to. I
Yeah, I
don't
mean
want.
there were like some like annoying like I feel like there were small little tasks that had a little bit of padding, so you didn't see it as a fetch quest, but it
Mm.
actually was a fetch quest. Things for the gang or like go here and kill this guy, which is that happens in all games, no matter how like even games as brilliant as Red Dead 2. Um, but yeah, we just need to try and avoid that.
Yeah,
It
no.
would be cool to see like like you said a balance of arcade and realism
Mm.
in GTA 6.
Look, at the end of the day, we don't know what it's going to be. We
Yeah.
still have no idea until Rockstar decide to finally show us anything, which
Yeah,
will
just like
probably be next year sometime.
yep. Most
Um,
likely. Or like the end of this year, like, hey, we're doing this thing and it's like out in 2 years' time.
oh, that would be awful. That would
Yeah.
be terrible.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, this is out in 2 years. But why? Why did you tell us now then? You could have shut the fuck up until like a later point. Don't do this to us. Or like and you know it's gonna be inevitable.
No,
It's gonna be delayed like twice. It's gonna be I feel like Reddit was delayed twice. They did it two specifically. And
it's gonna be
possibly
like,
Reddit.
and I think people didn't really know what they were in for Reddit One, so it wasn't
Yeah, it was
as bad.
only when it got to like those 2 weeks of hype videos, that's when people were like, "Oh my god, this
I
game is
think,
amazing."
but I think with GTA, it's a much more well-known property, so people are
Yeah,
just gonna lose their
like
sanity with that.
people like even if you ask people who like play only FIFA and you mention the word those three letters of GTA, they'll be like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that game." Like everyone knows. Yeah, hell, they've even like put it. I remember there was a line in one of the Resident Evil movies. Again, based of a game, but like there was a character who mentioned GTA as he ran over a zombie. So I mean, it's made its way into everything, and
No,
I
it is.
think there's
It's
isn't there a movie the way Daniel Radcliffe plays one of the Hauser brothers or something like that?
yeah, I think so. I haven't seen it. I can't get to the name of it. It's actually
Yeah.
about. I think it's about the development of GTA. The
Yeah, so
initial.
or like the whole pioneering of the genre. There's definitely something about it. I'm not sure what the reviews were like about it, but I remember seeing something in an
It,
article about it.
if we find that out, we will put it in the comments below so you can go check it out.
Yeah.
So on to our next bit of news. I put up a post this morning asking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. To your thoughts. I haven't played it yet. I haven't gotten it yet. I'm very keen to get into Final Fantasy VII. You have played it, so I want to hear what are your thoughts, your initial thoughts on the game.
Look,
Very exciting time.
I've only played about 7 hours of it.
Only
but
7.
only seven. But I have enjoyed everything about it. The game essentially covers the first 5 hours of the original game, so up until
Okay.
Midgar or the end of Midgar. Um, but it takes a while to get there because the game is so padded with extra info. Not extra info, but extra content, and the story is so much more fleshed out that there's a better understanding of the characters and little things that you have read about in the original game. Um, I don't want to mention anything specific because it's
Spoilers.
spoilers. Um,
Except if you're
like
old like me.
if you I remember I'm actually playing the original at the moment on my Switch because I wanted to be caught up and I wanted to try to get like the end of Midgar so I would know exactly what was going to happen up until
Yeah,
the
because
end of.
you don't want to surprise. You don't want to be like, oh no, no, what is
Yeah,
this?
yeah. So also I haven't played it in like maybe 10 years. So I thought, okay, let's like do a quick refresher. And there was something, I was still walking through the Sector 7 slums, which is a big part of the mid guy experience because that's where Tifa's bar is. And there's someone talking, or you heard in the news something about something being stolen. Um, and you only read about it, you only see it in a character's comment. And that whole comment is actually a fleshed out mission in the remake.
Oh, you
And
see this.
it's like an hour. The whole mission takes an hour, and there are so many parts to it. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just so good, and the storytelling is so much better. And obviously, there's voice acting. There's brilliant voice acting. Uh,
I
by I
mean, the
think
original had no voice acting. It
no
was
voice
just
acting and like sharp polygons. It, you know, I remember when I played the game, I remember it happening a different way in my mind. Like I saw it looking up,
I know
but
exactly what you mean.
now
I
I'm
remember
playing the two and I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking ugly. But I
because
mean, at the same time, like I have so much love for this game, and seeing it now as a remake and then these fleshed out
seeing
missions,
what they've
it's
done.
it's incredible. Like the animation and the voice acting is so good. Barrett's a bit funny because he's so embarrassing of like who he actually is. But he was also embarrassing if you watch Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Like he was
No, he
Barrett.
was.
He was hard headed. He was loud, and he has a gun on his arm. So I
That's
mean, kind of
that's Barrett.
has
That's
agency to do
always
that.
been Barrett
Yeah,
from
from
the beginning.
disc one to disc three, Final Fantasy VII, that was Barrett. He was a loudmouth, like sometimes dumb kind of character, but you grew to love him, and he kind of grew to like Cloud as well. But the remake is so. I don't I
Sounds
have
like
so
you're having
many.
a good time.
I have a good time. Look, it's I'm playing on normal mode, and the demo was quite challenging, if I could say that, and the combat took some time to click for me because I was like, I'm using a lot of potions on like the Scorpion Sentinel from the first bombing mission. I
Hmm.
was like, okay, this is I'm feeling like a bit of a pleb right now because I'm playing cuck and I'm good like burning through potions. Please don't make me use a Phoenix down. And it took some time to really grasp the combat, and once that just clicked, I started enjoying it a lot more. Uh, and plus, there's the side missions. There wasn't side missions in the
That's the
original
thing.
game. I mean, there were side things like if you think about the wall market when you have to dress Cloud up as a girl, which I haven't got into yet. That was like a series of side mission that led into the main mission. But there are side missions now in the
That
remake
aren't a part of
that
the main
aren't
missions.
what don't really have like any effect on the narrative at all, except maybe like it's playing into Cloud's narrative as a mercenary in the Sector 7 slums while
Hmm.
he's working with Avalanche. And he's, doing crazy, like, not crazy things, but like,
He's
he's
being a
doing odd
mercenary.
jobs. He's like, cool, I'm gonna be a merc, and he like makes his name known throughout Sector 7, killing monsters, like, wherever they are, whatever. And while it may not play into the main narrative per se, there's a lot of options for, well, not options, but opportunities for getting more items, healing items, materia, weapons, and also it gives you time to own your like combat skills. Because it's obviously a combination of strategy and hack and slash, with defense being blocking and evading. But it's cool to still have an ATB gauge to telling you like, okay,
Mm,
you actually can't spell just yet, but if you hit that enemy a few more times, you'll get
then
your
you
AP
can.
a lot more. One of the only gripes that I do have currently is that the camera can be a bit eh if you're locked onto an enemy and you kind of get into an awkward spot, because you can't see anything, and especially if you launch them off the ground and then do aerial fighting, like that makes it even worse. Uh, the other thing, maybe very small gripe, is that the your companions that you have with you in combat, they aren't they are fighting, but at the same time they aren't building up an ATB gauge as fast as you are. So they are fighting, but they are
so you
also
kind of
like kind of holding back a bit.
so you
So you
kind of
can't
have to switch up like
yeah,
to really maximize it.
and you can issue commands to them. You've played the demo, so you have an idea of what I'm
Mm.
talking about. So you can issue commands to them where you can tell them to use an ability, you can use spells, or tell them to use an item either on themselves or someone else. But like the ATP gauge filling up, it's a bit on the slow side. Not sure why, but
Maybe
yeah,
they'll address it with a patch. Maybe.
possibly, or maybe that's just the way it's meant to be
Mm,
played.
maybe it's just to encourage like that flow of combat where they
Yeah,
want
like
you to
switch
switch between.
between, use your characters, don't just rely on Cloud, which is fair
Mm,
because Cloud, because he's attacking all the time, he's also taking a lot of the aggro because all
mm.
enemies attack you and your companions are, surviving more than what they should be. Like your health runs out a lot faster. But it's good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the fleshing out of the narrative. Fleeting encounters like when you run from the first bombing and you meet Edith in the street and you tell her to like be careful, like that 2 second interaction becomes like a 5 minute cutscene. Well, not a 5 minute cutscene, but a 5 minute like experience. Um, and that was very exciting for me, and obviously the different enemy types and the limit breaks and the summoning materia, and it's just there was something I was going to say now but I completely forgot.
You got too
uh,
excited now.
I'm excited, but I don't know, that first meeting with Edith, I don't know, maybe it's because I had so much investment in in the original. It was kind of emotional. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of teared up on stream the other day, which
Look,
was
it's a big moment, and I think because
very,
you haven't played it in so long.
and
I
you
mean,
know, like if you've played Final Fantasy 7, you know like what
w-
happens with
yeah,
Cloud and Aerith.
you know
You know
what's coming.
that we I don't know, man. As soon as she gave him that flower, I'm like, can't do this. This is not right. I don't feel right about this. And like Jesse, Jesse Biggs and Wedge just hanging out with those three is hilarious. Like you barely say a few words to them in the original game, but there's like I said, there's an actual mission where you go out with him and like it's fleshed out, it's long, and there's character and there's dialogue and there's laughs, and
They're
Cloud has to
proper
stick up his
characters. They're
ass and
not.
tells him, and that was like a very defining moment for his character as he kind of started to develop a bit more.
I think
Um,
it's because those characters, like, I mean, Biggs and Wedge have been in Final Fantasy in all of them basically. So it's interesting to hear that they're becoming more fleshed out within
yeah,
the world of Final Fantasy. And
you learn more about them. Like in the original game, I don't think this is a spoiler, but like you didn't know that like Wedge had a couple of cats at home, like or that he likes cats, or maybe he doesn't like dogs.
yeah,
Um,
he was just there, and he was like a dude who was part
yeah,
of
like
Avalanche,
he was
but
the kind of yeah, he was the overweight guy in the group, and like they all wore like bandanas, and Biggs looks like fucking Charlie Sheen from Platoon, which is it's very shocking. He kind of actually behaves like him a bit as well. And Jesse is a thirst that I've never seen in a game before. I don't know what is going on, but it's very endearing, and it's also very interesting to see more of her character as opposed to when the first bombing mission where you like
mm,
lift this block off her and she runs away and she's like, cool, thanks for saving me. And like there's so much more, character development and development or relationship. There's such a I think if you've played Final Fantasy VII, you kind of know again what happens to them, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, look, I don't want to go into that territory, but it's I feel like maybe they're building up towards that, like
I
for a
think
reason.
I think
But
you know you know
it's very cool getting to know them, and there's side activities as well. Like I was playing darts in Tifa's bar, and
so just back to the characters. I think it's interesting that they're doing it, given how iconic Final Fantasy VII's villain is. I mean, Sephiroth is probably
yeah,
the most well-known villain,
yeah, even
and
that.
he's scary. I mean, Sephiroth is terrifying in that game.
Yeah, look, he's so cold, man, and he's so like he has
Strong.
no
He's really
human life
strong.
whatsoever, which is most villains, I suppose. There's no like they don't flinch much if they take someone's life, but Sephiroth is on another level. Like that's a different level of cold. And as soon as I saw him in my first like little session of a playthrough, I was like, oh my god, this guy's showing up already in like hallucinations. Like we have gotten to this part already. Like we're also learning more about Cloud now and how the Mako has like affected him after
Mm.
his little thing with Soldier. Um, but yeah, like I said, I'm only 6 hours in. Others have like put in 50 hours, and this is only covering 5 hours of the original game. So there's so much more for me to get through, and I'm so scared to finish it off because I know that there's going to be another long wait for episode 2 of the remake and possibly episode 3. I feel
Okay,
like
so you
they might do like a 3 episode thing. I think that's what they said they wanted to do. But the wait is gonna be so agonizing after playing this, man. I do. Oh, it's so
and
good.
so you will also have a review of this up
I
as
will have a
soon
review of this
as you can
as
do
soon as
this.
I've cleared my other reviews. I still have to do a review for Doom Eternal and for Resident Evil 3 remake. I'm gonna take my
So
time with it.
hopefully,
I'm trying to take my time with Final Fantasy and trying to stream all of it. I'm trying not to play in between because there's also another big mission coming up, and I feel like maybe that's something to keep for stream, which will be tomorrow at 9:30 p.m.
go
Um,
check him out at
so
Bloody Night on Twitch.
Twitch TV, twitch.tv// Bloody Night. Short shameless plug there. And there's so much I want to play in between, like off stream, but at the same time, I just feel like let's just fuck it, just do it on stream. So I'm gonna take my time and maybe try and get through the entire game on screen, but
On
we'll see.
stream.
We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
that's
I can't make any
basically what
promises.
I've been doing with Dark Souls.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the kind of thing I want my entire experience to be like in my video clips eventually. Well, if I get affiliated, then my video clips will stay there longer than 14 days.
They'll stay
Thus,
for 30 days.
yeah, it's only 30. Oh fuck. Okay, I'm not gonna finish it that.
Actually,
Anyway,
I think it's a little bit longer. I'm not sure. So now that we've spoken about remakes, I think
yeah.
it's time to have a look at like remakes that we'd like to see. I mean, we've had now the last say 2 3 years. We've had some like really solid remakes of games. Some
Mhm.
really good quality content shit has come out. So this segment is kind of just focused on remakes, but we're looking at different time periods each week. And this week we're looking at 1990 to 1995. Um, so tell me, what is it you would like to have remade? What would you like?
This was actually tough because I couldn't think or at least look up a uh, a specific title during that time period that would be most appealing to me. But I think I finally settled on Gex. I don't know if you ever played it.
Cakes, wow, yo.
Gex was well, a platform game, I suppose, on PlayStation. I've only played from the second game, Gex 3D, and then Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, but the first one was like a 2D scrolling platformer. And if anything, if we could get a full-on remake of that one, into like a complete 3D experience. I'm not sure how platform games are doing these days.
Well, I
But
mean, they're
that would
not
be
doing too
quite cool.
badly.
I mean, other than that, yeah, let's just leave it at Gex. I was gonna say Earthworm Jim would be a nice one. I know there was a remake. I'm not sure if it was an actual remake. It looked more like a remaster. Um, so I think Gex would be my one. I quite like the character. Also, like he's a gecko and he can like climb and shit. Okay, he doesn't lose his tail, which is
Kind of
thankful
sucks
because that would be unsettling to children and would have been unsettling to me. Um,
because
and
you were children
the
then.
humor was funny and it was always TV based. Like I remember playing Gex 3D and there was scenes from like the Karate Kid and the
Mm.
Matrix and like James Bond, and it just had this like Gex liked to watch TV, and that I don't know if it appealed to me. But I don't know. I also liked, like I said, I liked his humor and the quips that he had and things like that. So yeah, Gex would be my choice for a full remake. Like I said, very difficult for me to actually find a game from that time period. Maybe like after 95 I can give you stuff, but
Well, that's next week. I
Gex.
mean, next week is 96 to 2000, so that's gonna be a tough one for a
Oh
whole
shit.
different reason.
Yeah, I already have one for that immediately. I can say it now, but I'm gonna save it for next week because that's content that I want to give away. Yeah,
I have a feeling I know what it is.
yeah. I'm sure everyone knows what it is. Anyway,
So
what is your one?
okay, so I too really struggled because I looked back at like a lot of games that interested me back
Yeah.
then, and I kind of like looked at like when it came out, and I was like, oh shit, like some of them like just missed the mark, and then I saw like there was a whole patch. So initially I was gonna go with like Metal Gear 2 because that came out
Mm,
in 1990, and then I was like,
mm,
that would be great because it would be nice to see like Solid Snake, that era Solid Snake like redone. But then I was like,
before, yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of like obvious. I mean, Earthworm Jim also that also crept um into like my list,
Mm.
and then also like Heretic and Hexen also popped up because
Ooh, yeah.
that era was also like very FPS heavy, and I thought
Mm,
that could be interesting. But then I ended up settling on a fighting game that I don't think a lot of people remember.
mm.
So the thing is, do you like dinosaurs?
Are you
Because
talking about Primal Rage?
I am indeed talking about Primal Rage. I think it had like some really interesting mechanics where you could eat worshippers because you played as like these dinosaur gods.
Yeah.
Um, it also had like kind of fatality system
Mm.
similar to Mortal Kombat. It was trying to be edgy like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's an interesting concept, and considering like okay, the fighting game market is extremely saturated at the moment,
Yeah.
and to crack that is so difficult. But
Incredibly challenging, yeah.
I think that it can be done. I think you
Mm,
can make like a really good fighting game centered on dinosaurs
mm, mm.
with the right studio. I think Primal Rage, I would be like really interested in getting. Like, I've not been keen on purchasing fighting games because I think the online component it can get very daunting very quickly. It's the same
Yeah.
with FPS games
Mm.
where suddenly you just feel like you're overwhelmed by pros who are just owning you. So I think just having those kind of niche fighting games, and I mean,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
doesn't like dinosaurs ripping into each other like that? I mean, come on, it's dinosaurs,
Yeah,
and they
Primal
rip into
Rage
each other.
was very good. I don't if I remember correctly, there weren't only dinosaurs. There was I know there was one who was like an ape of sorts,
Yeah, there was ape,
like a
and
baboon or
they were
something like
like
that. There were a couple
it,
of different, yeah. So
it
I think
was
there was like
animals.
you said,
It
yeah,
wasn't people. It wasn't people fighting.
yeah, yeah. It was, but it was cool. It was quite violent as well, if I remember
It
correctly. Like you
was.
said, it was like very much to be edgy, like Mortal Kombat with fatalities and stuff like that. Um, but it was one of the ones that caught my eye, just like I think for many people who enjoyed it. Um, I think specifically for that region, I was like, oh, these are these are animals, and specifically dinosaurs fighting each other. Um, and it was, I think I rented it once because I had a on Sega, and Oh, like we spent the entire afternoon just playing that game to death. I mean, it was a little tricky to get into at
Mm.
my tender age of like 7 or 8, but yeah, we played it a lot. It was good. It was a good
I
game.
think I think it would just be like an interesting fighting game to enter into the market. Um, and now on to our last thing of the day. Since we're all stuck in lockdown, we're looking for a good time sink. And for those who don't know, a time sink is basically a game where you can just spend hours. You can spend like 40 hours and you won't even know that you've been there for 40 hours. Like think of The Sims when you spend like 3 hours busy decorating a room and then you looking and you're like, I have 3 hours passed. That's a time sink, friends.
Yeah.
So
Um,
so
are we talking a specific game, or are we going to talk a genre of sorts?
so I was thinking like what would you suggest is a good time sink, especially for this period because everybody's in lockdown and I mean um
Mm.
it's a nice way to like really kill time and like just get that enjoyment out.
Yeah, look, if there's anything that can like really be a good time sink, it would be like a pretty good RPG. Something like Skyrim, where you lose literal days playing it. Or in my case, what I've been doing, I've been playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I've lost hours and hours to this game. And because it's in a handheld, I can literally like just not play at this chair. I can go play in the kitchen while I'm making coffee. So it's actually much
Worse.
more dangerous. It's more dangerous because you can play it everywhere, and that is a problem. But you mentioned The Sims, and that's something I've also lost days to. Not even just decorating, but completing missions and like raising, like or getting promotions at your job and finding the right job you want, and then also decorating and buying cool shit for your house. And the Sims is dangerous, man, and also it's like very accessible because you don't need like a
Mm,
very high-end PC to play it. And I feel like the Sims is probably quite cheap at this point on the
mm.
EA's Origin. And the Sims 4 is obviously out as well, and I think Sims 2 is on Origin as well, which is because it's so accessible. I think the Sims might be the worst offender in to be for a time sink,
I think I
losing
think
hours and days.
I think as a time sink, The Sims is also it's far more accessible to people who aren't like regular gamers
Mm.
because
It's
it's
more of a
not
casual experience.
it is
There's not
more of a
like a
casual
there's no
experience.
maybe not a steep learning curve, but I mean, there's definitely a learning curve, like trying to manage everything, like bathroom breaks and washing and eating at the right time, making it to work on time. Specifically for the first two games, but the latter two have been a little more forgiving where that's concerned.
Mm,
But yeah, like you said, it's more appealing to casual gamers because there's no real learning curve, and it's easy to just sit down and play and then not look up until the sun comes up again.
mm. So I recently made the terrible decision, and by terrible I mean wonderful decision, to start playing Stardew Valley, which is
Oh
a
God, yeah,
that is a
that
bad
is
time
games.
sink. That
Yeah.
I legit Slingshot came to check out my stream. He left to go to your stream and came back, and I was still going at it. Like Stardew is just farming, but I think it's more than just farming. It's a
It's
lifestyle.
yeah. It's also. I mean, I've never played it, but I've always wanted to, and I think I my game share buddy has it on his account. So if I'm actually just gonna avoid downloading it
Do
because it's gonna
it.
be a
Do
problem.
it.
No,
Do it.
no, I'm not gonna do it. I've heard so many good things about Stardew Valley, and I've seen so many things either on Reddit, on Twitter, and it's just such a special game. It seems.
It is. It
It
is.
has this whole Harvest Moon. It reminds me of Harvest Moon, and it's just something Harvest Moon for the modern crowd, I would say, or
Mm,
for the modern gen. Um, and that is very dangerous because no one tells you how addictive this game can be. When I played Harvest Moon, I'm like, I'm gonna be a farmer. I'm gonna try it out. I never fucking looked up again, man. Harvest Moon was amazing, and if Stardew Valley is anything like that, I'm gonna be in trouble. And if I get it on Switch, I'm gonna be in even big trouble, bigger trouble, because I can play it
Honestly,
anywhere. It's a problem.
like so I always like to think of it as like Harvest Moon walked so that Stardew could run. It's
Okay,
it's it's
okay.
that good. It's really
God
like
damn it.
it's ridiculously
Yeah,
fun. Like, and it's so strange because all you're doing is just farming. That's all you're
yeah.
doing. Building your farm, just doing your thing, trying to get married on the side, all of that. But it's just such dumb fun. Like I love it. It's such a well-made game.
Mm.
It's refined. I think it's very accessible to a lot of people. But I think it's also yeah, it's just be careful if you start it because you might not want to stop after a while.
Uh-uh. I'm not opening that can of worms. No, thank you.
So
I'm not.
so
No.
you
I'm
sound
I'm scared
afraid.
actually. No, I'm very tempted. I've had my eye on this game. It's been on my wish list for years
You
on
you
multiple
you should play it.
platforms, and it is not going away. It is not leaving me alone. And then, like you said, it looks accessible. And I feel like because, like, well, not because, like, it's not just a farming game. Like you said, it's a lifestyle.
This is a
But I
lifestyle.
feel like there's also like some kind of narrative to it, essentially.
No,
I mean,
no,
there's obviously a narrative, like even with Harvest Moon, like it was just like
hmm.
making money off your crops, and I feel like Stardew has that, and then some. Like
No, it
there
definitely
are there are
is.
definitely goals to accomplish
So
aside from just farming.
there's some weird shit that goes on in Stardew, which includes
Yeah,
a wizard and like aliens.
and there we
So
go. And
and
now I'm
but
screwed. Yeah.
but that's not even the most exciting thing. It's
No.
honestly the farming that gets you.
No, it can't be that good.
It,
No.
it is that good.
Stop.
Like so
I
so
can't
before
buy this
before you
game.
lose your mind any further, another good time sync I was going to say is you mentioned it before is Skyrim, and that's because like Skyrim is probably the game I have poured the most amount of hours of my gaming career into. I don't want to know how many hours. I just think it's a very full package.
Mm,
It's janky. It is janky.
yeah. Look, some of the best, like some of the like jankiest games are like some of the most like time sinky-esque games. Talk
They
about
are.
Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter has a janky like feel to it, and I've logged like 600 hours in this game. It's the game I've put most time into. I thought Skyrim was that one. Monster Hunter has 600 hours, and I'm somewhat ashamed. I don't actually know. No, it could be worse. It could be my Destiny time spent. I don't know how
I,
much that is. It could be worse.
I can tell you now that my Skyrim time is way worse than that. It's bad. But it's look, the thing is it's really entertaining. It's got like a really fleshed out world. It
Mm,
feels like a very lived in world, and I think that really adds to the experience. It's got an incredible soundtrack that
yeah.
really
Oh
keeps
yeah.
the immersion. And I mean it's a lot of fun. Like you're looking for like a fantasy, a high fantasy with dragons and magic, like
Vampires and like
werewolves,
werewolves, well, you say dragons, and
mud
just
crabs,
oh
mud
man,
crabs.
mud crabs, and like the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood, and there's so many different quests. Like you could complete the main narrative and not experience like a lot of content. And
I
the best part about Skyrim is that it is fucking everywhere. It's on Switch, it's on PS4, it's on PC, on Xbox One, it's on PS3, it's on Xbox 360. Hell, there was even an E3 joke that it was gonna be on
on
like
on
Alexa,
Alexa.
wasn't it? It was Alexa.
It was Alexa.
And then there
I'm
was another joke
surprised.
that came out afterwards, like now we're gonna put it on like a smart fridge, and I was like, oh my god, if they actually do this. So I mean,
I'm
Skyrim is
surprised it hasn't been ported to mobile at this point.
like, look,
Like
there is the Elder Scrolls Blades, which is free on I think iOS only currently.
it's
So
not as good. It's really not as good. I
oh, so
spent
you've
some time.
played it? Yeah,
I
no,
I have spent some time on it, and it's not as good.
yeah.
I think
It's essentially just mobile Elder Scrolls, but without
it
all
is
the
with a lot of
amazingness.
microtransactions and a lot of
Eh,
rehash dungeons, so
yeah,
it's not great.
always the
Um, the,
risk.
the other final time sink that I want to just mention is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh god. Here we
I
go.
think I think this is a great time to like get into it, but it is a very slow game.
Mm. It's slow to start.
Mm.
It's a bit of a slow to warm up title, like literally. It starts off with a snow thing. So it's literally a cold open. Um, but yeah, it is slow to warm up, but it's so rewarding at the same time. Not just in the gameplay, but in the narrative and just the way everything comes together is incredible.
I think it's like there's so much to do in the game. There's so many Easter eggs within the game.
Yeah,
It's a really, again, it's another rich lived in world, which makes it like really exciting. Um, I don't think.
yeah.
Look, I think out of all the games we've spoken about, I think Red Dead is probably like the least accessible to like more casual gamers
Mhm.
or people who are like just starting out there, like gaming. It's a bit much. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot going on,
it's
and
a tad overwhelming.
it really is a tad overwhelming for somebody who plays like a lot of games. It's
Yeah,
it's
if this
overwhelming.
isn't your first GTA game or like your first open world game, you'll probably be fine. Also, it's probably also like quite handy to have some kind of interest in the Wild West. If you aren't and you hate that time period, then it's definitely not for you. But
Yeah, then just avoid it at all
yeah,
costs.
if you are mildly interested, then like take a look at like some gameplay footage or something, because then you might find out exactly what you need to know about whether you want to play it or not.
I think it's just you just got to take your time with it and enjoy it.
Mm,
It's a game definitely that you savor. It's not a game that you rush through. You
mm.
don't like speed run Red Dead. Like
No,
that's
no,
not you. It's not
no.
designed in that way. It's not like
Yeah,
a Dark Souls where you can speed run it and you still kind of get that pleasure of like, oh, I've conquered this mountain.
yeah. No, it's
But
a definitely a time sink of
it's
note.
a yeah. Look,
And
you can
because of
easily
that,
log
like you
over
said,
200
you
hours
yeah easily. And like you said, it's something you need to savor and take your time with, and don't rush through it. Don't be hasty
hasty.
to get don't be hasty to like get to like I don't know get to where you need to be. Just like
Yeah,
enjoy it. Just go
yeah.
along for
Just
the ride, and then eventually when the ride like opens up a bit, then you do what you want to. Then you explore the world. That's
I
when you
mean,
really
it's a
stop.
huge world. Like the map is massive, so there's
Yeah.
a lot to do in Red Dead, not GTA. I'm not gonna put GTA on this list for now, but I
Well,
think it's
look, GTA 5 might be another one that is good because it's probably quite cheap right now and it's
mm,
available on pretty much every platform except Switch. So PS4, Xbox One, PS3, X360, and PC.
and I mean it's
Um,
still getting support now. Like 7 years later, it's still getting a lot of support from
like
Rockstar. So
GTA Online is specifically getting a lot of support, but I mean that this you're playing a game with three protagonists and you can switch between them pretty much
and
any time. I
it's
mean,
a decent it's a very enjoyable time. And I mean,
mm,
if you're looking to pick up something for cheap, then there you
yeah,
go. I think
have to.
Stardew is probably like the cheapest out of all of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But it's also the most dangerous because you will forget about the real world very quickly.
Forget that you have children. That's it's tricky.
It's dangerous. You'll forget to sleep and eat.
And also,
Like
if you have like an addictive personality, then stay away. This is probably not going to be a good one
yeah,
to go with
it's not
because
gonna be
you're
a
not
fun
going to do
time.
anything else. Nope.
If you guys have like anything you wanna add to that, then don't forget to like comment below on all of the topics today. We spoke about some GTA 6 news. We spoke about Final Fantasy, some remakes. Tell us what the remakes you would like to see in the near future.
Yeah.
And then, of
Anything.
course, like what games you are sinking your time into.
Yeah. And how much are you like? Oh, well, specifically for South African viewers and listeners during this lockdown, like which game are you spending the most time on? I feel like people are going to say, "Well, we're playing Call of Duty Warzone because it's there and it's free." But I mean, like your time sink game, like you could spend hours playing until the sun starts to come up again and your eyes are bloodshot. Like That's the kind of game we want to hear about. Like that's your time sink. Let us know. GTA
That
6 time sync remakes. Final Fantasy 7 if you're playing it as well, the remake. Let us know what you were thinking and how far you are currently as well.
you spoke, you said that time sync, that description was very, like, that came from the heart there. Like, you felt that.
Look,
You you know.
there was a time when I was playing Skyrim and it was not pretty. I had a job that I worked part time for like 3 hours a day, and I got up early. I would play until 3 o'clock in the morning, wake up as early as I could, and I started grinding Skyrim for like fucking iron daggers or something to raise my smithing.
uh
And then also like,
I
cool,
feel that.
how much progress can I make in this game today? And like, I'm only tackling side quests. I still haven't finished the main narrative, and that was on PS3.
No,
So
I
yeah.
remember that. Like, it took me a long time to go, like, wait, this a main quest that I gotta finish it.
And now everything, because everything scales, and like the main quest, like enemies are like just taking you down, man, like throwing you around, like they don't give a shit, like just like flicking you away and shit. Yeah, so
Yeah,
like
but
the scaling scaling can be dangerous if you spend too much time in side
be
quests.
safe
Yep.
out there.
Yeah.
But tell us what you think. I'm that Nomad Shad,
And I'm the
and
Bloody Knight, and this is the loading screen.
we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks so much for watching or listening, whatever you're doing. And enjoy and be safe.
Be safe out there, guys. Be safe.